Hey y'all, welcome back. This is the fourth video. We have three foundational videos, and if you haven't seen those already, I would strongly suggest that you stop this video now and go ahead and watch those. Those are foundational. If you know anything about building a house, what we're doing here is building God's house.
Right.
And the foundation is the most important part to the building. In that foundation, you have to clear out all of the things that are hindrances, things that are in the way for that foundation to be built. You got to clear out all the thorns and the thistles and the rocks and the roots and stumps and even the dirt. And in the Bible, we will find that dirt a lot of times speaks of sin. So the foundational video there are very, very important, and we'd like for you to watch those before we proceed to where we are now, which is in Proverbs. Proverbs is not where we thought we would end up after.
No.
It is an exciting book, but it's vital.
True. You know, we were laying that foundation in the three videos there of God had a plan. He had an original plan. Sin messed it up, and then he had this remedy. And then you would think, okay, so after salvation, after the remedy is in place, then where would we go? And of course, we thought it would be the red letters of Jesus, but very clearly he kept saying, go to Proverbs, go to Proverbs. And we didn't, I'm not going to lie, it was weird. We didn't understand that until we began ourselves to dig into this book and to pull out these treasures that are there. It's amazing how, when God speaks, if we'll just listen, he really knows what he's talking about.
Yes. And the story of Proverbs is written by Solomon. He's the first writer. That he's got his name right there at the top of his works. And when I thought of Solomon, I think of, we know he's the wisest man, and when I think of him, I think of an old white-haired man with a white beard, like a Charleston Heston kind of guy that played Moses. But one of the amazing things that I found was that when Solomon became king and he asked for wisdom right at the beginning of his reign as king, he was like a boy.
Right.
He wasn't a full grown man. His father had just died, and he just became king kind of all of a sudden.
Right.
And he was just like, okay, God, now what? What do I do?
Right. Right.
And so that had me hook, line, and sinker right from the beginning is when I found that out.
And for me, it was, digging in and finding out, exactly what is a proverb.
Right.
Not just the name of a book, but, it actually meant something. A proverb is something that rules. It's a rule to live by. So, and it also means dominion. And so that just, took me all the way back to, God's original intent, where he told Adam, have dominion. There are rules, and you are over this place. Right. And so here we have in the Proverbs, in the title, we have, these are rules to live by. Right. So then it kind of made more sense why he would say, after we have the remedy in place, it makes more sense. Okay, so now what? We know that having salvation, of course, saves us in eternity. Right. But our eternity begins at the moment of salvation. Right. So at the moment of salvation, what do we need next? We need rules to live by.
And when we do get saved, we ask the Spirit of the Lord to come and live within us, right? Well, a lot of people, they may not even realize that there are actually 7 spirits of God. And you can find that in Isaiah chapter 11. So with that, I'm going to read Isaiah chapter 11. I'm really going to read the first 3 verses, and then we're going to talk about it. It says in Isaiah 11, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. So this is actually talking about how this, when the Spirit of the Lord comes and dwells within us, we then begin to live differently.
Right.
We live according to his leadership and guidance. We hear things differently,
right.
and we speak things differently.
Right.
So that is why the book of Proverbs is so vital.
Right.
This actually tells us and teaches us how we're supposed to live as Christians.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get out of that dust realm and live above it.
Right.
Live in the higher dimension that the Spirit of the Lord is.
Right.
And that in itself is what this book is about and
right.
why it is so important to us.
So if we think of, the scripture that you just read here, the seven spirits of God, and understanding that most of Proverbs, Solomon is speaking of wisdom. And so if we think of wisdom as the Spirit of God, it being like a candlestick, and we have these seven spirits,
right.
and wisdom would be something to light our way. And so Solomon gave us so much here in teaching us that there are rules that govern parenting. They're in Proverbs. Our sexuality, it's in Proverbs. Our relationships, whether they be business, whether they be in the family, between parents and children, between husbands and wives, all of those things are there for us as, if we take that wisdom, the Spirit of God, into us, they are alive for our path.
The Spirit of God comes and dwells within us, and it does away with the darkness,
right.
and it brings light
right.
to the things of God.
Right.
So then when we have the Spirit of the Lord within us, and we may have read the Bible 100 times,
right.
but when we have this light, the Spirit of the Lord enlightening these words,
right.
they come alive off the pages.
Right.
They bring life to us.
Right.
And then we begin to live that higher dimension kind of life.
Right.
And that's when people see us and they say, "Oh, there's something different about you."
Right. It brings to mind the verse of being in the world but not of the
right.
world. So we know the world walks in darkness.
Right.
It doesn't take too much
It's
looking around
darker.
Getting darker every day. But if we as Christians, if we as believers will begin to take this book, the Bible,
right.
and in particular we're going to start with Proverbs. And learn the rules to live by and really apply them, then we can be a light in this world of darkness. So with that being said, this is just an intro to where we're going next,
right.
and that is the book of Proverbs.
Yep.
So to that we just say, come.
He saved you a seat.
He saved you a seat.